Retro anime. How did we find it? How does it hold up? Unpacking the ins and outs of being an old school nerd and proving that 80s kids can't remember a damn thing right. These are the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd.
Welcome to Mindless Midlife Musings of the Anime Nerd. I'm Rick, and with me as always are Vic and Brian.
What's up?
Today we're discussing the biggest, baddest anime of all time, Akira, the 1988 classic anime that paved the way for the growth of anime worldwide. But before we get to that, I'm going to do the thing I said we wouldn't do, which is issue a correction or two. Brian, I'm going to go ahead and let you start.
I don't think it's more of a correction as opposed to. It's not like we said anything that's incorrect. I just said something that was like wrong and
Like objectively wrong.
objectively wrong. So, in our previous episode, we were talking about just animated series that were able to capture our attention. And I said that the first one that ever caught my attention that was actually animated in America was Avatar. And deep down, I heard Batman saying that, what, you think I'm a joke?
Man.
So I had to retract that and say, yeah, you had all the WBs, the animations from there, from Batman. And I even got to say, stuff like Freakazoid.
For sure.
That dude.
Yeah, you have the WB animation, all the Disney animation stuff.
No, there was a lot of really great stuff.
So I
But
apologize.
And I do have a correction. Well, it's my self-correction. It's about, in the previous episode, we were discussing the PSAs on cartoons that were there. I did actually dig into it a little bit, and they were there to combat critics, which would certainly come out of the woodwork otherwise. So an article on Mental Floss kind of dug into it a little bit in order to show that the cartoon was not just a half-hour commercial for the toys, but was actually educational. Sunbow, the production company, added a small public service announcement at the end of every episode to teach kids some sort of lesson. Now, these were overseen by a doctor, Dr. Robert Selman, a professor at Harvard School of Education and Human Development. So each PSA was typically featured a member of the G.I. Joe team, meeting with a couple kids and lending a helping hand or words of encouragement. Now, this also spread out to other shows like Mask and He-Man and the whatnot. But yeah, so the PSAs were not government mandated like I thought they were, because that whole television law stuff didn't pass until I think like 1990. So anyway,
So
now that it's one of those things, you remember things a certain way, and you think you've got a handle on it. But as I've learned over time, just through various classes and things like that, is that our memory sucks just as a general species.
That's
terrible
an
at memory.
important point. That's a really important point. Like, we remember stuff completely differently, especially when you go back and take a look at something. Well, we're gonna have that conversation.
Yeah. No, but you're right. You go back and you look at something, and our memories, and we are so not going to get into the philosophy and all that stuff, but our memories are broken pieces of a puzzle that they're missing pieces. So our brain like fills those holes with bits of stuff we can think of currently. So it's kind of a weird hodge. Anyway, if you guys want to really look into it, there's lots of websites that can tell you all about how bad human memory is. We're not going to get into that. Mine is exceptionally bad, though. So, you probably get more corrections out of me. But on to Akira. Akira is a 1988 Japanese animated cyberpunk action film directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, and my pronunciation of Japanese will only get worse from here. Based on Otomo's 1982 manga of the same name, Akira premiered in Japan on July 16th, 1988, where it was distributed by Toho. It was released the following year in the United States by Streamline Pictures, and it is widely regarded by critics as one of the greatest animated and science fiction films ever made, as well as a landmark in Japanese animation. So, what do we think about Akira?
It's bloody brilliant.
Oh wow, you brought the British out of him. Oh my god.
and that's our podcast. Thanks. No, it was.
No, but like literally and figuratively, the movie was just amazing.
Yeah, I rewatched it for this, which I may or may not do depending on what it is or how long it's going to take. But for this particular one, I really wanted to rewatch it because it does have such a profound effect on so much pop culture and animation and science fiction ever since its premiere that I felt like I would be doing a disservice to talk about it without having rewatched it. So yeah, it's something. Why don't we talk about how we first watched Akira? Brian, you want to go?
So I was hanging out with these two people. I don't know if you guys know them. They were Rick and Vic.
Bunch of
And,
nerds.
oh my gosh.
I don't know if I would trust people with those names.
Uh, yeah, so I was hanging out with them, and I don't even think that we had a conversation about what we were watching. It was never it was never, oh my god, this new flick came out. Let's go check it out. It's Akira. What? No, it really was. I walk in, we're putting it in there, and Akira's being played, and you see just phenomenal artwork and animation. And you're like, okay, I'm in. Let's see what they do. And that's how I
Yeah.
got it.
So basically, we roped you into it. Cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
that tracks. What about you, Vic? How did you first watch it?
So my first experience with it was actually the streamlined VHS that I still own.
Did
That
you
means,
buy it?
that means
Huh?
say that you still own a VHS player.
I actually own two. Do they work? I have absolutely no idea, but I own two.
So
But it
and
was
I'm
initially the streamlined dub. I don't remember what year I got it, but shortly thereafter, I actually got to see it on Laserdisc.
did
And
you
that
buy
was
Akira sight unseen?
huh?
Did you buy Akira sight unseen? Was this just
I
something?
did
So you like looked at the box art, said, "This dude with the giant laser gun, I got to have this."
pretty much.
That's pretty cool, man.
But yeah, like
I
I said, shortly thereafter it was the Laserdisc version, which VHS quality, even on a new tape, isn't the greatest. And then following that up with the Laserdisc version was just, my brain was just mush afterwards. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, I my first experience with Akira was through the animation section at Blockbuster Video. It was the first one on the shelf because it was alphabetical. So I picked that up and brought that home, and subsequently blew my own mind.
And you never returned that video. You never returned it.
Yeah, oh no, come on, man, it's Blockbuster. Those late fees will catch you every time.
No.
So yeah, I did dub it because that's the kind of guy I was, and rewatched the hell out of it.
You know
But
what?
yeah,
We need
go ahead.
we needed to go ahead and say this right now about the whole dub versus sub argument. You know,
Yeah.
like which one's better, sub or dub? And
Uh,
I saw this one meme that says, "What are we even having this conversation for? If you buy the manga, you're buying it dubbed. Why are we even having?"
Actually, I think I sent that one to Rick.
yes, it was fantastic. I actually, all right. So my rule is, and it's not like a rule. It's just I've found myself. Seems to be my personal taste is that whatever language I watched it in first is the language I prefer it in forever. So Akira, I did watch it in English first. In fact, to this day, I have never seen it in its original language. I've only ever watched it as a dub. I don't know if that's the same for you guys, but that's just me.
So no, I'm more of a purist because I notice most modern dubbing isn't the greatest. The stream, the older dubs, like the streamlined dub of this movie, is phenomenal. It's just good. But I think subsequent viewings after Streamline folded, and I think Pioneer picked it up. Ever since then, I think I've only seen the Japanese dub or dubs, the original Japanese voices, because I don't know. It's most modern dubbing to me, and I think we discussed this over the weekend. Actually, it just it
It's horrible.
it try to capture the pacing and the tone of the Japanese original, and in English, to me, it just doesn't work.
Uh, uh, it's the little nuances of words that they use from from like when you watch. So I have to watch. Uh, I'll listen to it dubbed, right? But I actually have to watch the subtitles too because I wear hearing aids. Little known fact for you guys. So my hearing sucks. So I'm actually watching like whenever I watch television now, it has to have subtitles. So even if it's English dub, the subtitles from what they're reading versus what they're saying, it still doesn't match. How you literally have what they're saying right here in English. How are the words not? It should be like karaoke, but and these are the people that invented karaoke. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I get that. But I mean, I think it's all about what pacing and scripting and stuff like that, right? I mean, it's especially if you're watching it in the same language, like you're watching the Japanese subtitles for the Japanese dialogue or the English dialogue with the English captions, they still cut things for time and pacing, right? Your ability to keep up with what's happening on screen and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So yeah, no, I sometimes I'll go as far as watching the English dub with the Japanese subtitles on, just so I can kind of get an idea of scriptural changes. That's just me being a complete idiot. Um, Talk about multitasking. But yeah, generally my rule is I whatever I watched it in, that's kind of what I always watch it in, and that you'll find that to be consistent with me pretty much across the board. Very few exceptions. I think Ghibli stuff because that stuff got butchered pretty hard. Um, so yeah. Uh, so what are our thoughts on this title? Like just generally, I mean, we're going to dig into the weeds on this, but overall, do you think it holds up? Do you think the idea that it is the biggest, baddest anime of all time is how do you feel like that rings true?
I would have.
Yeah.
I would have. All right, go ahead, Vic. Go ahead, Vic.
No, I was gonna say. I was just gonna say literally just yes, absolutely.
I was actually going to say no.
Yeah. All right. Let's have at it. What's up? Tell me why it's not B.
All right. There's so many, and I don't know whether or not it's. I've never read the manga, so I hate homework assignments. So, like, I hate. It goes if you read the manga, you would know why this is. No, you chose to. Even if you do some exposition, what I'm talking about is that society is now in the steampunk era. They don't talk about what everybody is so pissed off about. You know, it's just that they're rioting. Okay,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
there's no setup for how did we get to this point, or who are the power that be, or yeah, and it really is such a they take all that away from the viewer. So you're just watching them just be chaotic for no reason.
I can see what you're saying. I think what you're, if I may speak to it, is that there's a lot of plot lines that are happening simultaneously, and not a lot of explanation as to that. And I can see what you mean there. Like, I mean, ultimately, this is about a bike gang that gets caught up in a battle between military police and protesters, right? And that's basically the premise. Oh, and by the way, one of their friends gets turned into a psychotic telekinetic murder god. But ultimately, it's about a bike gang getting caught up in a socioeconomic political unrest kind of thing. But then it pivots hard into the telekinetic murder god stuff, and then you're just like, what about all that?
Okay, I can see Brian's point of view on this, but at the same time, it's a movie, and for an animated movie of the time, this was already pretty long as is. You only had oh so much, so you had to pretty much cherry pick the best parts of the movie to show,
and
or best parts of the story.
and that is something that you also have to actually ding it on. You know, um, let's say, for instance, let's compare the pacing of this movie to say something that is made it from DC animated. Now we can say that Marvel has the best in the cinematic universe, but the animated universe, you would say that DC is leaps and bounds ahead of them. As a result, they have pacing down to a science. You know, one of my favorite ones is Aquaman, and Justice League Aquaman, Throne of Atlantis. It just goes, it just flows. That's not the same here. It goes, and then they are always so angry, and always some type of angry and them trying to oh my god,
Well, and to be fair on that one, I can agree with your point on that easily. But at the same time, for DC, some of these characters have decades worth of backstory. Even if you didn't read the comics, even in the 60s and 70s, you had, some of the dumbest cartoons about them, but they were still there. So, there was some, back cultural reference on that, even if you didn't directly watch it.
That's fair.
Oh, yeah, I get that. There's a lot of that. They're in the mind, the cultural mindset or something, whatever the term is. But yeah, like I get that. Like, that's how Marvel's able to get away with doing a Spider-Man movie without giving us a Spider-Man origin. It's like everybody kind of knows already.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Okay, and fair. And nobody knows who the hell Kaneda and Tetsuo are. So yeah, I get that. I see what you're saying. I do. I really do. I do want to touch on a couple points. First of all, in my opinion, Kaneda's a pretty much the entire movie. He's absolutely an arrogant, and I mean that as meanly as I can possibly say it. He's a little protective of Tetsuo, which I appreciate because it's kind of like a big brother personality thing. And they do show in a flashback how they met and they bonded over the fact that they were both getting bullied and shit kicked out of them. But some reason, Kaneda is just a, like he's really. It's I get that he's a biker gang leader, but this is the guy we're supposed to be rooting for. And by the end of it, I find myself rooting for Tetsuo more than I did. Not I wasn't that way when I was a kid. No, when I first watched this, it was probably about 1990 ish, 1991. Nah, like 1990. And being a kid there, I just hit like teenage years, just about. And for me at that point, I was rooting for Canada the whole time, or let me say it in the Streamline Pictures dub, Canada, the entire time. And now, and when I rewatched it, I was like, man, why did I care about this guy? Like he's kind of um and yeah, I found myself leaning more towards Tetsuo now. That's that's neither here nor there. It's just something I really wanted to bring up because
No,
it pissed
believe
me
it
off.
or not, this is a long line of what happens like when you say doesn't stand the test of time, right?
Right.
The same way at first, everybody's rooting for Danielson, and then they realize if you really take back, Daniel was a sweep the leg Johnny. Do this now, and now Cobra Kai is taking over. So what's going to happen is they're going to have an Akira, and they're going to do Akira backwards. So it's going to be Arika, and Arika told the story from Tetsua's point of view, where he's like, you know what? I really did want to take his motorcycle because he's
You're just putting this shit out into the universe, saying this is what's going to happen. We're doing this.
Right. So,
Arika. You heard?
so I get both your point of views, and while I agree, yeah, Kaneda was, but at the time where most animation that was available in the US, and especially where we were, where every single time, the protagonist was the goody two shoes, the Boy Scout,
Sure.
that kind of character. It was interesting to see a movie where essentially everyone, all the main characters, were kind of jerks.
This is true. You are not wrong. I agree.
Damn, that
But yeah,
dude,
there were some. Go ahead.
after dude, as much as I've known Vic, now he's dropping the deep. As long as I've known you, now you want to drop it? Oh my god! I'm like, okay, Pepe, I see you over there.
Now there were a lot of. I mean, there were a lot of things about Akira that to me do still hold up immensely. The quality of the work in and of itself is still nigh untouchable by anime standards. I
At
mean,
least not by hand drawn anime standards.
there were things like the light trails coming off of the tail lights of the bikes as they sped off. Just the intricate details that in when buildings crumble and the little gravel and when you really think about the guys that have to draw all that stuff and how intricate and detailed it was, it really mind blowing stuff. The destruction was just so pretty,
Oh yeah, the
beautiful.
technical detail was insane, but also I know there's been arguments back and forth whether the whole movie was animated at a higher frame rate or not. But there are definitely chunks of the movie you could tell how smooth the animation is. It's like it is at 23.97 blah 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 frames per second,
Okay,
Right.
and it shows.
okay.
How smooth that animation is. It's a lot of shows even nowadays are not animated at that frame rate.
So now, all right. So it's clear we need to have this conversation. We're talking about frame rates now. Is that what we're going? Mindless music.
Mindless musings.
Hey, we're
I
talking about frame
We're
rate
talking about
because
frame
as
rate.
far as animation goes, you have to draw that. So you got to figure the poor animators at the time, because it's common knowledge that animators in Japan are
highly
it's
overworked.
yeah, they're insanely overworked. So just imagine these poor guys sitting there animating at 24 frames a second. It's insane.
It is, yeah, and hats off to them because I get pissed off if I have to draw a doodle twice. I can only imagine, having to go through all that. And I mean, there's some of it is ridiculous. Like there's just I wrote notes. There's an ice layer on Akira's tomb, and when they go visit Akira and they crack open the tomb, and it's the way the ice is like drawn on there, and it just shatters off and it peels to the floor. Like it's just so much of that that was really, and the world building, right? Like Neo Tokyo, despite our
Huge.
complaints about the plot, the Neo Tokyo is a fully realized, intricate world.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
And that
I,
blew my mind.
I love that video that you sent about how Kaneda's motorcycle slide and how often
Yeah,
it has been used throughout,
yeah,
and even in real movies. But that whole animation slide,
Oh yeah, that is such an iconic scene in anime.
yeah. That bike slide. And while we're talking about the bike slide, which again aped in so many different media formats over the years, just amazing. I'm gonna anime nerd out about this. When that bike peels in, everybody thinks about the bike peeling off into the distance with Kaneda's leg and hitting, dragging across the ground and all that, and it's super cool. But I want you guys, if you ever rewatch it, I want you to look at the smoke coming off the ground, and I want you to look at the lightning effects on the wheels of the bike
Oh,
as
for
it's
sure.
pulling away from you, because it is so good. It gives me animator wood. Absolutely, it's so incredibly well done. And I'm gonna gush about this movie from an animation standpoint this entire episode. So just be ready for that.
so
Oh, for sure.
so that's the question, right? How does that not get translated in little stuff like the anime slide gets translated? But then
Yeah,
we're talking about the little details that are you would have like. That's one of the things that always amazes me. Like for instance, Teen Titans, right? Teen
sure.
Titans becomes a fully realized animated cartoon, and then they backtrack back to Teen Titans Go, and I'm like, no, mother.
I really don't want to discuss that.
I feel like, I mean, that what that is, Brian, is absolutely it's all about efficiency now, right? They found out that by using vectorized animation techniques that they can simplify animation, and they lean into that, hoping that their story and the jokes are going to get them through it. But no, the quality of the animation, and this is not just an old guy yelling at a cloud. The quality of the animation for American animation stuff, it has deteriorated tremendously. That's I challenge anybody to log on and DM me or at me or whatever the hell you want to do. I will fight that fight. That is a hill I am willing to die on. It's gotten cheaper and faster because they need to make more of it. So
Homeboy,
lots of corners.
homeboy who did Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack. What was his name?
Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yeah.
Him. He made. Let's say that's the closest thing to the animated version of what we're looking at now when we're looking at Teen Titans Go. It is so
Yes.
much better in Dexter and there, and they're doing stuff. I'm like, come on. The problem is that they are losing, I guess, me, and other people like me. There's no way in the world I'm gonna focus on Teen Titans Go when I had Teen Titans.
I'm gonna say a line I heard from a YouTube video about MTV and why they don't play music videos anymore. And it was a brilliant YouTube video. It's a comedy bit, but it's we're not their demo anymore. They have a whole new crop of young kids with different attention spans and different desires, and that's their audience now. It's not us. If we want to watch something, we can revisit Teen Titans, we can revisit TMNT, we can do all that. They don't care. They're not after our dollar, they're after our kids' dollars, which of course is our dollar ultimately, but they know you hook the kids, then you're set. So our kids, not mine, but general American kids, are going to grow up loving Teen Titans Go. It's going to be the cartoon they remember when they're adults, and when they're doing their Mindless Midlife Musings podcasts, that's what they're going to be heralding as some of the most brilliant, hilarious writing they've ever seen. They'll be wrong, but that's what they're going to be doing.
It's okay for them to be wrong about it.
Exactly. They're going to be wrong, but that's what they're going to be talking about. So no, there's no way that we can make a whole episode just about that, but that's neither here nor there.
I think that's something we have to be careful about. Is sure that we aren't too much about.
Right.
Because then it goes from mindless musings to these mother old guys.
Right. And that's not who I'm going to be. I'm not that guy. So there is some other stuff I want to talk about. Like, so this is, and it's worth mentioning, this is a feature-length animated movie. So, of course, the quality of this is bar none. Right? It's amazing, excellent, and it's a standard by which people hold a lot of modern anime to, without realizing that we are talking about a feature versus a series.
Now, when we're saying the future, we're talking about that. What are some of the characteristics of a feature?
A feature-length animation is usually animated on a larger budget. Akira at the time had, I think, the largest budget of any animated movie ever until, I think, Spirited Away dethroned it or something like that. So it was hella expensive to make, which means they had more staff, they had more time, they had, just that much more going for it. Animated shows in Japan, like Super Dimension Fortress Macross, sometimes that stuff was animated like the week before it aired.
Huh.
Like I read interviews where they would record dialogue and then they would see that episode the following week. So the turnaround is on a series versus a feature, that can affect things. So it's also worth noting when we talk about shows, we talk about movies, we talk about these kinds of things, that we are careful to be considerate of that, because while something like, say, Super Dimension Fortress Macross looks gorgeous, sometimes it looks like whereas Akira, they had infinitely higher budget, way more time to work on it. Of course it's going to look amazing. That's just kind of the thing, right?
Are you all?
Can we all?
Are you always going to say Super Dimensional Fortress Macross?
Every time I talk about Super
It is the
Dimensional
way.
Fortress Macross, it's going to be Super Dimensional Fortress Macross.
That is the correct way to say it.
All right, so more random midlife musings about this show. I liked how when Kaneda, like he's chasing down the clown and they're on the highway and he clocks the clown and then he runs into the little old dude. His name I don't remember. He runs into him, everything explodes, and he starts like everybody he's looking at him like what's going on, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, and this is just me, this little tattoo looking mother shows up in a suit and everything, and he's like, "It's time to go home." Just like, what the is that? That is when things pivoted for me, and I was like, okay, this is going to be really weird, right? Because up until then, it was very by the numbers science fiction. Oh, this little old looking kid's being like, they're
Little
trying to
old-
help him escape, and
Yeah.
then the little tattoo guy shows up with the mohawk, the Japanese Mr. T, and and then that's when it goes sideways.
Left, right. It was that was the time that they probably should have had a commercial break talking about you may need drugs. The whole teddy bear thing, dude.
Oh my god.
You know what?
So yeah, all right.
Gosh,
Why?
I just had a breakthrough for why I am what you call a taximasochist, where I torture stuffed animals.
And you have Akira to thank
Brian,
for
what's
that.
hilarious about that is I actually have the movie running in the background right now,
Yeah.
and we're at that scene.
Yeah.
With the bears and stuff.
Yeah.
Why did I'm gonna ask? Why did those old little kids decide to with Tetsuo? Like, why? What were they doing? Were they trying to kill him because they really sucked at that, or were they trying to trigger his power? Or like, what? That whole scene, while beautiful and amazing, I never fully understood what they were trying to accomplish by doing that.
Not exactly sure, but I'm just gonna say that they were jealous because he was tall.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that his whole purpose was to turn me into somebody who hates stuffed animals. They succeeded in spades.
I mean,
matter of fact, I'm gonna go choke a bear right now. Just
I know that little Zelda Rubinstein looking chick, she knew that Tetsuo was their doom and all that, but again, when they first started doing that, I was like, why are you doing this to him? What is your goal here? You guys are 3 feet tall. He's gonna fucking murder you.
Right?
So, Mindless Musings, recollection.
Yes.
Tetsuo's girlfriend, what's her name?
All right, hold up. Now, in the streamlined dub, it's Kaori, like Cowri, but it's Kaori. It's Kaori, I think is how it was spelled. But yeah, her. What about her? I got something to say about that.
The one thing, all right. I don't know how I feel about it. She has a tan, but they put the pinkest on her.
Dude, all right, we're gonna do this. So
We're gonna do this.
Akira is like, I think my first anime, right? Like the first time.
Okay, so
you guys.
Fair enough.
All right, first anime. All right, I think I saw The Little Mermaid, but I didn't know it was anime, and never mind. Okay, so Kaori is first anime ever, right?
Heavy metal.
Okay, yeah, heavy metal, but I think I saw Akira first, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
So Kaori, she's out with Kaneda, and the clowns show up, right? And they walk up to her after beating the shit out of Tetsuo a bit, and she gets stripped, right? They tear her blouse out, and their little Japanese girl pop out, and then the next frame, she's knocked the out, right? I had the most judgmental boner ever. It was like, what did you wake me up for, you sick son of a? It was amazing. It was so like mind blowing that this was happening to me, and then 10 seconds later, Tetsuo's guts spill out onto the street. So this movie just f***ed me up at 8 Ways to Tuesday.
Like
with that
how many
whole
emotions
sequence.
did you go through in that
all
5
of them.
minutes.
All of them. And when that happened, my boner was like, I'm going to bed. Don't you ever talk to me again. And that's how I remember Akira. That's just how it affected me at, of course, prepubescent, right? Yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Akira, the whole purpose was it's like it's a 2-hour diagnostic of your senses.
Its goal is to disgust you and arouse you and tingle you and with your head for 2 hours.
And if one of those things happens more than the other, you're supposed to see professional.
Right? It's designed so it's impossible for you to have one solid opinion on the movie.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, actually. And to get serious for a second, there are so many different plot points, so many different things about this movie. It changes gears so many times that it is hard to have a clear opinion on how it made you feel, right? Because it does run the gamut of emotions. I mean, it just, for me, for sure.
So,
No, for sure. It's just
other than animation styles and the wonderful ice breaking and the morning dew on the top of Canada's bike as he makes that turn and
all that stuff, so nice.
out of all that, what are the things that, I guess, character wise, that has stayed true, or you know what I'm saying? That what are some of the things that are there any character traits that you see now that has you can see in Super Dimensional Fortress Macross or
I'm proud of you for saying the whole name.
You hear this fight?
it's I don't know. I mean, because like Vic said earlier, none of these characters are particularly likable, right? And I don't know that any of them have been aped into tropes or into, like sort of reused characteristics. Do you feel that way? Do you have an example? I can't think of any in particular because they're all pretty damaged people.
Yeah, they were all pretty screwed up. I mean, there couldn't easily be certain aspects of like a single character, in another character, but not in the way that these characters are fleshed out in Akira.
I think that the only trope that has survived is the delinquent trope.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Like it is one thing to have the motorcycle guy, but that whole greaser, damn near looking like something out of that delinquent with those characteristics, and it's something about the delinquent who was coming back to be the good guy.
I get it, and we're definitely air quoting good guy, right?
Oh yeah, there's nothing good. I mean, Kaneda's entire motivation for most of the movie was the girl.
Right? Yeah, he was chasing. I don't remember that character's name. Kay, I think. Like the whole movie, like that was he was looking to lay pipe, and he decided that she was it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the whole thing is, like you said, the delinquent aspect of it, the delinquent character trope probably made its way into a lot of things. Also, I think, this transcends anime. This is a theme in movies and stories, all, and then that's that power corrupts, but ultimate power corrupts.
Yeah,
absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
There we go.
And I feel like Tetsuo is definitely that, right? He's indicative of that.
Oh, he's the epitome of that.
Right. And I don't know if it's the experimentation that drove Tetsuo insane or if it was the power that he had suddenly obtained that ultimately corrupted him, but he did fall like hard, right? And then it wasn't until he couldn't control that power anymore that he realized his folly. And that has rung true so many times over the years in movies and cartoons and just everything, comic books, you name it. So I think that's probably the only trait I can think of and again, but to call it a trait is to diminish it. The only theme, I guess, that I feel makes its way into so many other stories. And
And
again,
to
I
be
don't
fair, that trait's probably been there before Akira. It's just
right. And I was just gonna say, I don't think necessarily that Akira is responsible for that, but I do feel like he's that anime is probably one of the most uh remembered for it.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
No, no.
I
So
can agree with that.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
now I'm gonna jump into a different mindless musing here, and that is, and it needs to be said, is that orbital beam cannons have and always will be a terrible idea. They were a terrible idea in this. They're a terrible idea in Bubblegum. They're a terrible idea. It never works out.
It never, ever, ever works out because the wrong person always manages to gain control.
It's like anime
But it's
is
still
just,
cool. I mean, orbital sniping. Come on.
it's cool, but
I would say
it's
that
always
that whole space beam down. That's another thing that has taken care of everything from any type of space beam that shoots down. Hell, even Justice League did it.
and I don't know the history of it. I don't know if it's like an allegory to Star Wars. By Star Wars I mean the Star Wars program enacted by the president in the 80s. I don't know that that's it, but it sure did seem like when cyberpunk took off, and that's Akira, right? Akira is like cyberpunk personified, I think. And I think when that took off, I don't know if that's where the orbital beam satellite thing came from, but dude, everybody's used it, right? It has since then, and I think that was the first time I'd ever seen an orbital beam cannon satellite thing. It seems like everybody and their mother's uncle wants one in their sci-fi.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
at least during the late '80s and most of the '90s, there were quite a few sci-fi and cyberpunk shows that actually did have the orbital lasers, which
Thank,
yeah, almost always, always, always was a bad
hey,
idea.
thank you, Vic. Thank you for abbreviating that to instead of over the B cannon because I can't have too many more super Macross where we're saying, oh, thing. If we don't start using abbreviations, I'm gonna lose my shit.
all right. You're gonna have to keep up with the abbreviations though. So these we'll just call them, OBCs, orbital beam cannons. Like the three that come to mind, right? There's this one. There's Bubblegum Crisis uses it to a lot, and even Batman Beyond, The Return of the Joker used orbital beam satellites, and it didn't go well for anybody in any of these.
Even Justice League, the Watchtower had one.
The Watchtower had a freaking beam satellite, a beam on it, because why the hell not? You have Superman, the most powerful being, but yeah, we really need lasers from space. So, yeah, that's a random musing I had. I realized watching this when they started using the beam satellites. I'm like, this may be the first time I'd ever seen it, and yeah, it sucked. It's a terrible idea. I don't know why everybody thinks they should use it, and historically, it never works.
No,
And go ahead.
no, it does not. It does not work.
I have more. All right. So this is one that I really this is just anime being anime. All right. And that is, where does all the meat come from? I understand science is a timey-wimey thing when you're doing science fiction, but Tetsuo goes from, I don't know, 80 pounds soaking wet to this enormous
Sack of meat.
mass of meat that he crushes his own girlfriend in one of the most terrifying things I'd ever seen, to like absorbing things. And it's just like, where does it come from? What the hell?
I think that's been a huge issue with anime forever. I mean, like, yeah, besides Tetsuo growing, I mean, look at Transformers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been there for a while, and it's like, how does something, is one size, and then out of nowhere, it's like their mass increases like 300 times, and it's how, but
Yeah.
doesn't matter because they make it look cool.
True. True. And while we're on the subject of his mass and the growing, the whole final battle, the Kaneda Tetsuo screaming match that happens.
That's something else that has taken the whole screen.
Yeah. It's just scream each other's name while you're trying to kill them.
Yeah. Dragon Ball Z said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah. That's like one step away from calling your special moves, right?
So here's the thing. That remember that whole trope I mentioned the last time about everybody being number one and being the best at something?
Yeah.
That does not exist here.
This is true. You are right. This does not have one person aspiring to be the best. If anything, they're aspiring to be left the hell alone.
Yeah.
Well, the military is aspiring to be in charge, and everyone else is just aspiring to be left alone. And if not, then they're taking everyone with them.
Yeah, it's you're right. You're right. That this is one area, but that again, we realized. I mean, I think we discussed that in the last episode. Is that trend towards perfection, that trend towards excellence, that came with time, right? It wasn't necessarily embedded in our anime, but it became embedded in the modern telling of anime.
Yes.
And you know what? It's since nobody is the best in this, and this is true. Why is it that little Zelda Rubinstein had to use K to fight Tetsuo? Did that ever get explained to anybody? Like, why did she go? You know what? This chick, I'm gonna use her to fight this telekinetic god guy.
Well, considering Kaneda went out of his way, to go for this girl, do you think he's going to listen to this, 3-foot high blue girl? No, he's going to, listen to the girl that he's been chasing the entire movie. Preview. I can't even talk right now. He's a horny teenager. He wants the girl, and
So
he's going to the girl that he wants.
So you feel like the little chick used K to fight Tetsuo because it would trigger Kaneda into action.
It's probably the only way. Get the hormones going.
Oh, it's this anime had it all, right? This anime had anime titties. This anime had anime guts spilling out. This anime had a dude getting literally shredded by bullets at least a couple times in this. Like just like it had.
People getting exploded.
Yeah, getting exploded.
Splattered along the walls.
Oh my god. Yeah. This thing kind of did everything. And for that I'm grateful, right? Because if you're gonna introduce yourself to anime, which I feel like this and maybe Warriors of the Wind were the two movies for me where I went, holy shit, what the hell is this? I appreciate that they didn't pull a single punch.
No punch. It just opened.
Did you guys
go like, you like this? Wait till you see some of our other movies.
Yeah, for me it was like, hey, look, we've grown up with this, but look what the other side of the planet is providing their fans. And it's it's like, we didn't get this kind of stuff theatrically here at the time.
No, we never
outside
did.
of a few private showings, maybe.
Did now I know Vic, you watched it eventually again on Laserdisc. Brian, did you ever experience it in another format? But before, assuming you rewatch, I don't know. Did you rewatch it for this?
I did rewatch it, but
cool.
I have a confession.
What?
And I'm glad we're doing this towards the end of the video. I mean, podcast.
What video are you talking about?
Towards the end of the podcast. I'm glad, but I have never actually finished Akira.
Oh my god! What? You know what? I think I've watched the whole thing, and it didn't. I don't think it ended. So, how far did you get? What's the last thing you remember? This is a conversation. This needs to happen. What do you? What happened?
So I was watching it with Angel, and Angel's my wife, y'all, and we were watching it, trying to do the homework, and the last thing I saw before I woke up and I was drooling It was. Now I've made it further in previous times in my life. I've actually made it to the orbital bean cannon, but this time we didn't even make it past nipples.
Damn,
Jesus
you fell.
Christ,
You're
that's
officially
early in the
old.
movie.
Huh?
He said that that's early in the movie. Yeah, you're officially old, man. You fell asleep. You fell asleep before the plot even kicked in.
It turned.
It's like for me, it's like 99% of the time, if I'm starting the movie, I'll finish it.
No,
I mean, hell, even last year, I took the hour-long drive to go watch it when they did the 4K restoration in theaters.
So now, Vic, you've watched Akira a few times. Like you've
Well,
seen
like
it.
I own it on VHS, I own it on DVD, I own it on Blu-ray, and as of a couple of weeks back, I own it in 4K.
And it's on your phone.
Now,
Tell me on your
have
phone. You have a copy of Akira on your phone. That way you can watch it anywhere.
No. That's what Plex is for.
Right,
Fair enough.
stream it. Did you now? Have you've watched it in English, the original streamline dub? You watched it in Japanese. Did you ever watch the Pioneer redub?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Because
I've never seen it.
like I'm not sure if I mentioned it now, but it's like the streamline dub was just actually really good. They didn't go with like the way that they do now, where they try to keep the tempo and the pitch and the way of speaking properly in the same way as when they translate it. So you get in English, you get an unnatural way of speaking, whereas in the old streamline dub, it's like it just fits with with English, as opposed to where the Japanese one is still flawless.
I agree with you that I enjoyed the streamlined dub, as it is the only version I've ever watched. But there are lines that merit criticism, and one of those is just when my coil's reaching the green line. I have no idea what the fuck that means, but it's in there. It's a thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it for the rest of the people. You guys are nerds.
And there's this other line that the general, I can never remember that character's name. He says he's trying to get Akira's door to open the door, and he just like screams out, "Do it now!" And I, to this day, will say "Do it now" like that when I'm trying to convince somebody with urgency to do something.
Right.
So there are definitely some pearls in there of the '80s dub, but I agree with you. Overall, I think it holds up. I think the dub holds up. Other people will no doubt tell us that we're being ridiculous.
Well, like I said earlier, everyone's entitled to an opinion, even if it's wrong.
Alternative facts.
Alternative facts.
I will respect everyone's opinion, even if I disagree with it.
So now, all right. So ultimately, the final throwdown on this: did it age well? Do we love Akira? What are your thoughts, Vic?
Personally, you guys know I love the movie. It's still an animation quality benchmark. Some of the themes no longer work or fit nowadays, but things like the build up to the 2020 Olympics, like that was supposed to be happening, and well, go figure, we were supposed to have 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. It's just parallels and things that were supposed to happen almost did happen, as opposed to the things that thankfully didn't happen. We didn't have World War III, we don't have giant murder god trying to kill everything, but overall I think it still holds up great. I mean, it's still it looks like 80s and 90s anime style, the character design and everything else, it still looks from that time frame, but it just oozes quality.
Brian, your thoughts?
I have to say that you can't.
Brian's never finished watching the movie. He doesn't count.
I'll say that you can't deny its impact, and on that basis alone, it has stood the test of time, because there's so many people who are using the little bits and pieces out of it, and keeping it to their little Easter eggs in the future. As long as you can't, it's going to be remembered forever. and I'm gonna have to finish watching it because I think if I make another statement like that with anything else, people are going to riot.
All right, and I guess I'll chime in on this. I do feel like it holds up. I feel like if you're gonna watch something and you want to watch a cyberpunk story, then you're gonna want to watch Akira. There are lots of cyberpunk out there. You can watch Blade Runner, you can watch Bubblegum Crisis, you can watch any number of things. But if you want an absolute apeshit cyberpunk kind of experience, then I feel like Akira does hold up.
Yeah.
Does keep the torch going in that regard.
Or it starts to flame.
It does, it without a doubt. There are lots of great things about most cyberpunk films, and this one included, where it's like because of some horrible cataclysm, we have this rapid growth of technology, but not an evolution of technology. So like in 2019, they still have arcade games and CD jukeboxes, and they still have to use landlines to make calls and things like that. But everything's just kind of like hyper technological. Like there's just more moving parts to it, but it's still the same stuff.
Right. It's like the natural evolution of that technology, but without the way that it actually happened in real life.
Right, because nobody could have predicted back then that the internet was going to be a thing, or how it was going to go, or cell phones, or any of that stuff. So it is always fun for me to watch older cyberpunk material, just because of watching how they envisioned future technology becoming a thing. So I think it's definitely worth a watch. I think if you've never checked out Akira, what the hell's wrong with you? You should definitely check it out. And that's my 2 cents.
Just go find it at nearest Blockbuster Video. You'll be good.
That's right. Go check it out at Blockbuster Video. Highly recommend it. The animation section, right next to the forum.
It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu. You can find it on
Hulu. So I think that's going to be our show for today. Let's go with Vic. Where can people cyberbully you?
Again, like I said, since I don't like to be seen myself, you can always check out my Muppets Twitter, and that's at kaiju_geek grotto. That's at KAIJU_GEEKGRTTO.
All right. And Brian, how do people find you to bludgeon you for the travesty of not finishing Akira?
My name is Pedro. You can find me at Skits Backwards on Twitter, and that is SKITZ, and then Skits Backwards. So ZTIKS.
Spelling is heard.
People are like, how do you
Awesome.
pronounce that? It says just like Skits Backwards. What? Why are you?
People are going to be following some really strange people on the internet. They're going to be looking for you. Well, folks, you've just been privy to the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Geek Grotto, or you can visit us at our website at geek-grotto.com. If you'd like to sponsor the show, you can do so on the podcast's Red Circle host site. That's redcircle.com/shows/MMMAN. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, please subscribe, like, follow, heart, or any combination thereof, and maybe also give us a review. Until next time, keep calm and run.
No, I'm sorry. I had to stop. Don't review. I'm sorry. Don't review that I haven't watched it. Finish it. You don't do that. That was just.
No. Let him have
it. tear into him.
It'll teach him a valuable lesson.
Okay. I just had to.
All right. So until next time, folks, keep calm and run from Tetsuo's meaty grasp.